What's up, Marvel fans? Anchor Pete here with my good friend Brian, and I asking the question, what if? What if I changed our intro? What if I said something random and I didn't talk about Brian's shirt? That shit's not happening tonight. Brian, what do you got on your shirt there tonight?
Oh, I think I've worn this before, but I'll show it. It's a Galactus They Live Consume shirt.
That's
And
hot.
fun story, I dropped my son off at school today, and some like fifth graders like, cool shirt. And I really thought about this for a while. I'm like, did he just think it was like a zombie Galactus, or like did he know? Like, was this kid like really cool? Did he actually know They Live and a Galactus? I mean, obviously he probably knew Galactus, but
yes.
Or maybe
Well,
he didn't know either. And that would be like, okay, I don't know. But I thought about it for like a while. I'm like, did that kid really known both of those things?
Well, how old was he?
Well, I mean, this is an elementary school, so he was going to elementary school. So he was a fifth grader at best.
He'd have really awesome parents if he knew what They Live was.
Yeah. And now I'm questioning if I should be showing my son They Live.
Oh, why not? Might as well. Already done Cabin in the Woods and Alien versus Predator.
You only got through half of Cabin in the Woods. I realized I made a mistake with that one.
It's all good. Let me ask you this. How old were you when you watched They Live?
Oh, I was a preteen or teen, something like that. I was like 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah. I think I might have seen it like as an adult, not because like my parents weren't letting me see it, but it's just I didn't get exposed to it at the right age. Like, what's the earliest kind of horror inappropriate movie you saw? Like,
the first horror movie I ever saw was Poltergeist, and I was probably like 5 or 6.
Holy shit!
And it scared the crap out of me. Like,
yeah.
And that along and the three major nightmares of my childhood were Poltergeist, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and the robot lady in Superman 3.
Oh yes.
Those were my top 3 nightmares of childhood.
Yep. Yeah. I would agree with that. Definitely with the robot lady from Superman 3. But then there's like Large Marge and Pee Wee Herman. But that's like pales in comparison to what you were describing. And then what do you call it? Large Marge. Then the judge from Roger Rabbit.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He was pretty scary. You know.
Yep.
But yeah, mine are kind of lame compared to yours.
I mean, Large Marge scared me too. Definitely, absolutely. Because it was like that was probably like the first jump scare you ever saw. You know.
Yes. And then also the librarian in Ghostbusters.
Oh well, yeah. Ghostbusters is a lot scarier than like you remember it is.
Yes.
Like we tried showing that to Brandon too, and like he was a little scared of it. And
I
mean, he was even scared of he watched the most recent, like the all female Ghostbusters. He was scared of that too. I mean,
that's the visuals are kind of scary. Like the CG ghosts, some of them are kind of creepy looking.
Yeah.
What do you call it? You know, I just went to see Venom last night with my mom, and there was the trailer for the new Ghostbusters Afterlife. We got to cover that on this channel too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And then maybe we could even talk about like because IDW actually has Ghostbusters comics too.
Yeah. There was a Transformers crossover with the character Ectotron.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll get to that shit eventually. Maybe we should talk about What If while we're.
Maybe we should.
Banner. Yes. So tonight, Brian and I are going to talk about the last 2 episodes of What If. We've kind of had an on and off again schedule for this show, but the last episode 9, premiered last night or yesterday, and so it's very Ultron focused 2 episodes, and it features the Watcher a lot more than other episodes. So out of those 2, Brian, which one did you like better? What if Ultron won, or what if the Watcher broke his oath?
It's hard because I liked a lot of the. I really enjoyed the last episode a lot, but I think I was one of the most surprising things in this show. Excuse me, was the fourth wall breaking of Ultron. I mean, is it a fourth wall? I mean, maybe I don't even know. It's not anyway, I was really surprised by that, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought that was an interesting twist to this whole series here. We've kind of been going back and forth about a lot of these episodes felt like they weren't finished.
Yeah.
And that they needed to either be followed up on, or we weren't sure if we were going to get full episodes, or they were going to wrap it up in one. I mean, for the most part, I'm thinking they wrapped it up in one for the most part, but maybe not 100%.
Yeah.
So it's a real toss up for me, but I think I like the finale better overall.
Okay. I think I like well, actually, I have my list because I actually ranked them. And I actually have the Ultron episode higher. And maybe it's because it focuses on Ultron more. And I think that they did a good job of building that character up. You know, in Age of Ultron, there's always that joke, right? That cliche joke of like, oh, it's called Age of Ultron, but it's just a couple of days, right? And Ultron in the comics, you know, he's a very formidable threat. And so, you know, he just tries to destroy the Earth using Sokovia, but it's kind of lame. You know, you don't really see his full potential, like how scary he can be. And I think that in that episode, What If Ultron Won? I mean, he like literally becomes like the size of a galaxy at one point, right? And like eats it with his mouth.
Yeah, and that was actually a pretty cool visual. I mean, just all this stuff with him and the Watcher, like when he first talks to the Watcher, like that's like great stuff. Like some of the best scenes in the show that they've had.
Yeah, when you said before, like, is he breaking the fourth wall or what? I think the Watcher breaks the fourth wall because he's talking to us, but then I think Ultron breaks the third wall because he's talking to the Watcher.
The
right?
Third,
so
3.5 walls.
There's 5 walls. Wait, is it
3.5? 3.5.
It's like someone just pops out of here and it's God. I don't know. But anyway,
that's the third door, Pete.
Oh yeah, never mind. Bullshit. Yeah. So I was gonna ask you, did you like the voice actor that did Voltron in both episodes?
Voltron was in this?
Oh shit! We're breaking the third, fourth, fifth wall.
Yeah, no, I thought he was. I mean, it was Ross Marquand, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I mean he's a fantastic. What do you even call him? I mean, I know he's an actor, but impressionist. I guess impressionist. He's a great impressionist. I remember watching some of his videos like before he was even on Walking Dead, and like he nails like everything. And he did a really good James Spader impression, honestly.
Right. But it was interesting, right? Because it was an impression of like James Spader's inflection, but his voice wasn't exactly like it. And it was kind of jarring to see the Vision talk with that voice at first. But then it's like, no, there's no Jarvis in there at all. So he shouldn't have that voice.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't have that voice. So yeah, and I liked it. It was unsettling to hear it, honestly. And I appreciate it. I thought this was a very well done villain.
Yes.
In the series, I mean, I guess that's the end of him. I'm not really sure, but I would definitely be interested in seeing more of him in some capacity.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they used him to the best ability in the animation form. Like, you know, like with this show in general, I was thinking it doesn't really feel like any other kind of MCU movie or show just because it's got the cartoon element to it, right? Like to me, it doesn't feel like the characters in the MCU movie could truly cross over into one of these worlds. It just feels like it's its own separate thing, even though I know they're totally connected, right? And in that Ultron episode, especially like when he gets the gauntlet and then he like changes his costume and then he like makes a sort of like a floating, like a spaceship or something, you know, just like instantly, it's very like anime inspired, you know?
Yeah, definitely like there's a crazy power skill there, and that was actually one of the detriments I felt in the finale is that Ultron could have wiped all those people out in seconds. I mean, even without that, they rely a little too heavily on that spell, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like Ultron was clearly using the gems at a very high capacity, and I feel like he was held back by plot armor in the family.
Yeah, very well put. Yeah, because it's almost like Thanos too, right? Like Thanos does some kind of cool things in Infinity War, but it kind of results in just a punch up, which this episode was like too, the last episode.
Yeah, and it certainly looked cool and all, but I mean, I didn't believe for a second that group of people could have beaten him, I guess.
Yeah, and when he takes out Captain Marvel in the What If Ultron Won episode 2, I thought that was kind of cool. Captain Marvel has really, like, they've taken some characters and like elevated them with the show. Like Captain Marvel's definitely one of them. Ultron is one of them. I'm trying to think that they've kind of downgraded Thanos, right?
Yeah, seriously. He got cliff jumpered.
Yeah, right. Just sliced him right. What's that called? Is that vivisected when he cut someone in half?
Yes.
Yeah,
well, vivisection is when you're cut open and you're alive. But is it bisected?
Bisected.
Cut in half?
Yeah. Well, they bisected Thanos. Another character that they really elevated in the show was Hank Pym, like you said last time we talked. There's just certain characters that got the chance to shine, and I wouldn't say that they necessarily elevated T'Challa. Oh, I'm sorry?
I would say Black Widow as well.
Yes. Okay. Very good. I'll say my one thing about Black Panther, then we can talk about Black Widow. But like, I felt like Black Panther has always been kind of high. Like they had a good grasp on that character in the movies, but they really gave him a good send off with this series, I thought.
The best. I mean, I can't remember exactly what he said, but there was a line. I don't think we even talked about it when we reviewed the zombie episode. But like the last line he has in the episode when they're flying off to Wakanda was like tear inducing. Like it was that good, and it had so much emotional weight because he's no longer with us, and I was like blown away by it.
Yeah. It's a shame, and it's so cool that like he recorded these episodes before he passed, and we get to enjoy it more. But yeah, it's also just bittersweet because it's like now we know he's gone.
Yeah, because like, that's it too. Like, that's it. That was the last thing he did, and we're not going to hear him again. It's scary. And this is a little off topic too, but I haven't watched it yet, but I'm not caught up on the Archer, the show Archer, where Jessica Walter passed away this year, and I guess she was in some episodes or maybe not all of this season. But they just had the last episode or a tribute to her, and I saw a tweet of it, honestly, and I'm like, it just destroyed me. Like just hearing people's work after they've passed and like knowing you're not going to get any more of it is like, especially people that you were fans of and admired. It really sucks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's kind of incredible that he passed away and that. He had cancer. We didn't even know about it. And it was like, kind of on the end of Black Panther being such a big hit, and it's like, oh, he's gone. And it makes me wonder, what they're going to do moving forward too. Like, how they're going to replace him in the MCU.
Especially too that I keep, this is probably all clickbait garbage, but I keep seeing stories about Shuri, Letitia Wright, spreading anti-vax propaganda on the set, and I'm like, this is really interesting.
Yeah, I've seen those
really too. What they're gonna do here because they had an easy way out, sort of, and maybe they don't anymore.
I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. I always thought that it'd be cool to have the guy that plays the gorilla faction. Like, what are they called again? Do you know what I'm talking about? M'Baku?
M'Baku?
Yeah. Isn't he on M'Baku? Yeah. Like, I thought he'd be kind of a cool Black Panther. I don't know. Yeah. I like that actor.
Winston Duke, I like him too, yeah.
Yeah. But you mentioned something before that I thought was like right on the money. You said that Black Widow was like elevated by the show. And boy, that's a good send-off for her too. Like they kind of like did a spin on the scene in Endgame where she dies.
Yeah.
With Clint's dying instead. Yeah. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was good. It was very poetic, and that reversal there. And I got to say, I really like Lake Bell as Black Widow. I mean, I think she did a great job. I mean, I also really liked her as Poison Ivy in the Harley Quinn show too. So I'm becoming a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's cool because like maybe Scarlett Johansson, I doubt she's going to come back to make another appearance as Black Widow, and so this could be a good way for her character to keep going, like in the animated version.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you know about this from behind the scenes, but did you know that story with Gamora killing Thanos, that was actually supposed to be another episode?
Yes, I heard about that. That they actually had it was budget constraints because of COVID.
COVID, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm assuming we'll get that next season.
That's what I read too. Yeah. And they were saying also that the episodes would have been longer, but they cut the episodes. They made them shorter because of COVID too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked that because I feel like one of the detriments here is that they have to cram. I mean, the same with the comics here. They have to cram in so much in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
They sometimes feel very rushed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Which one do you think was the most rushed out of the whole series?
Oh, wow.
Sorry. I know that's like real up front.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Which one was the most rushed? I don't know.
I would maybe say that the zombies one maybe was the most rushed.
Zombies, yeah.
Like you could have drawn that out and maybe made the zombies like a little scarier.
Yeah. That or maybe the I don't know. I was gonna say if what if Earth lost its mightiest heroes? Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I'll say zombies.
Yeah, and I think we're okay with the length of the Thor episode, though, right?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that when we do our ranking. But I was going to ask you, did you have anything else to say about these two last episodes?
Yeah, they were honestly my two favorite episodes in the series, and yeah, that's spoiler my rankings. Great moments in them, and there was a nice little stinger at the end of the last one too that I liked too. I felt gave some good closure on one of the other episodes that I felt was a little more on the lacking side, and it was just good. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was real happy for you because I know that you kind of hinted at almost like a Winter Soldier story, but with Steve.
Yeah.
And that's what they were hinting at, right? At the teaser?
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you like the Guardians of the Multiverse team?
Yeah, I mean, I again think that I don't think that team was necessarily the best of the best that could have done that. Like, I think they could have, I mean, they just basically took characters from the stories, which makes sense. But I don't necessarily think how those people could have beaten that Ultron at that level. Like, this is someone who's breaking the walls of reality and eating galaxies, and a non-powered T'Challa with a space mask and some guns and Captain Carter with super soldier serum are fighting him and not getting massacred. I mean, like, he could have just incinerated them or wiped them from existence in a second.
Yeah.
So that was something I didn't like, I guess.
Yeah, no,
they build up this villain like insanely, this insane power level, and then they dumb it down with the fist fight, I guess.
Did you like the way that they took him out?
Yes. It was like a trick, and the Watcher planned that out the whole way. The betrayal of Killmonger, which I was questioning the whole time, like, why is he there?
Yeah. That's
like, why the hell is this guy? Like, he was basically the villain in the episode.
Yeah.
And,
Mr. Sunday, I watched a little review of him and James is Mr. Sunday. Mason, him and Mason were talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's so clearly going to betray them." They get this team. It's this guy that's going to betray them, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting there fucking around with the Ultron helmet the whole time, and it's like,
I'm like, wait, what is this guy doing here?
Yeah. It's kind of obvious.
And
yeah.
It was also really weird to have like I mean, they interacted a little bit, but they had T'Challa and they had Killmonger there. I mean, I guess I don't know how that T'Challa even knew that Killmonger, or but yeah, that was a little strange.
Yeah, he had that one line where he's like, "You really are from another planet," but that's sort of like he's treating Wakanda like another planet, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of like a good little reference right there. But yeah, it's weird to have them both on the team, but also kind of cool, because you have Michael B. Jordan and what's his face? Oh my God, I'm losing Black Panther's name. This is horrible. The guy who plays Black Panther.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Chadwick Boseman.
I don't know why I didn't realize what you're doing.
Yeah. But it's cool to have them both in the same cast,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I liked it. I also kind of like the moments where, although this is kind of the fist fight element of it, but when the Ultron Won Black Widow had the Red Guardian shield, and Captain Carter had the her shield, and they were both going at it at the same time. Like, that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it is fun, and I'd be down for seeing that team again. I guess just minus
Killmonger.
Killmonger and then even like the evil Doctor Strange, he's a good addition too.
Yeah, no, I it's funny, when I watched that episode the first time, I was like, this is boring, I don't like it. The more I thought about it, like, I really liked that episode a lot.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad he's there, and I like that he's still kind of doing penance for what he's done, and he's gonna be a little guardian over them.
Yeah, and I liked his perspective too. He wasn't sitting there like being sort of angry or like a villain, like, you got to let me out, Watcher, or I'm gonna get my revenge. He was remorseful.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was well, I mean, I think that's because he merged with the other Doctor Strange. That's where he got that from.
Right.
So
right.
That was good though. Yeah, I that episode came from behind for me.
Ooh. So, well, we're going to come from in front now, and we're going to talk about the ranking.
Thank God no one's watching this episode.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So why don't you want to hit me with your ranking of all these episodes?
Sure. I'm going to start from the top or the bottom, or what? I mean, you already know.
Oh,
front back top. But what is wrong with you?
You start at the bottom, big boy.
All right. So my least favorite episode was episode 7. What if Thor was an only child? We've discussed this on the last episode in length. I just don't know why it was an episode, but I mean, at least it had, at the very end, had the thing, the Ultron appearance, which was cool. Actually, I have to mention one more thing about episode 9. The moment when the Watcher is gathering the team, when he grabs Thor, like, I legitimately laughed out loud at the face he made. I don't know why, but I loved that, and I really, like, actually by myself just sitting here watching it and laughing.
Yeah,
so
it was kind of like a callback to Ragnarok when he's sitting in that chair and he's screaming.
Yeah.
So
that was my least favorite episode. Second least was What If Killmonger Rescued Tony Stark.
Okay.
I think it's. I just don't see the logic in that episode. Like, I don't know why everybody was still trusting him and all that after all that stuff. I don't know how it was just weird, and I felt that episode had the most cliffhangery ending. And although they did touch upon what was going on in that world in the last episode, I don't think we're getting any more of it, and I don't think it was enough. So I think they maybe that was the one that was rushed the most. They went through a lot of stuff there, and it just kind of ended. So that it wasn't the story that was bad necessarily. It was just the execution of it. The next one I had was the first episode. What if Captain Carter was the first Avenger? Not a bad episode, honestly, but it hit too many of the exact same story beats, where the only difference was Giant Peggy Carter, Tiny Steve. The next I had was What If Earth Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? This was the first, like, dark episode they had. and I did like it, but I don't like that they kind of buried the what if question, sort of in the episode, because it's what if.
Hank Pym.
Well, no, because it was about Hope. Like, what if Hope was a Shield agent? Really, is the real question.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that, because that was the catalyst for all that. Is Hope joined Shield, died,
Right.
and then Hank Pym went nuts.
Okay. Good point.
Next, I had what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? I just thought this was an interesting take. It was the universe was like so much better off with this happening, and it was so interesting to see what changed, especially the whole Thanos thing, like crazy. And I just like the episode, and like it was very opposite of what I expected from What If. It was very positive for the most part. We did see a little glimpse of what happened afterwards with Ego and Peter Quill.
Right.
But yeah, I have that at number 4. Number 3 I have is the episode 5, What If Zombies. I just like zombies. I think they did a little too much humor in that.
Yeah.
But and I think there's a little more I'd like to explore in that world of the universe. That was probably the one that was touched upon the least in the finale, because all we really got was a brief cameo of Zombie Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
So and I would like to see where Ant-Man's head and Spider-Man and one like T'Challa go.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one thing I liked about the finale, though, too, is that they tied in every single episode. Like, they tied in that zombies one. They tied in the What If Earth Lost Its Mightiest Heroes at the very end. So, like, even though they weren't on the team, they still were able to tie those episodes into the finale. I like that.
Actually, wait a minute. How did they tie that in?
What, the zombies or the Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
What If Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
So at the very end, Black Widow is like, I don't want to go back to Earth because everyone's dead, right? So Uatu gives her like a little gift. He sends her to the Earth where the Avengers died.
But didn't we see Captain America in
right? Steve, they didn't save Steve yet in that episode. He was in the ice. So they take Steve out of the ice, and Captain Marvel shows up.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. All right.
And they're like beating up Loki too.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay. I didn't pick up on that. Wow. And then I already spoiled this before, but my second was What If Ultron Won. I really like the Ultron stuff, and the 3.5 wall breaking.
Yes.
And my favorite was the finale.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Well, our rankings are very different. And before we go to the rankings, though, I just want to put up a question we got here from Adit. Adit, you gotta love it. He's still on the channel.
Nice.
Question. So how does the Infinity Stones work in the MCU? Because from what I've read in the Marvel Comics, Infinity Stones only work in their own world of the multiverse, while others don't, and vice versa.
You know what? So, that's actually something that they brought up in Loki. So that's actually kind of contradictory here.
Yes, that is something I wanted to bring up too, which was that a good question, Adit, by the way, that Ultron is able to use the Infinity Stones in every universe that he goes to, but yet when they go to destroy the Infinity Stones, he's like, "Oh, you can't use that on these," right?
Yeah.
So it's like this double standard, because it is in the comics where you can only use them in your universe.
Yeah, that's a kind of a big plot hole. And maybe I should drop the ranking of this episode down a bit.
Yeah, man. Well, where do you see where I rank that shit on my list? You ready?
Ooh,
all right, so I'm going to start at the bottom too. So here we go. So for number 9, surprise, surprise, Thor was an only child. Number 8, Captain Carter was the first Avenger. The exact same reasons as you. It's pretty much beat for beat first Avenger. Number 7, the Watcher broke his oath. I'm sorry. Please don't.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why. I guess like it's everyone working together, but it didn't touch me as much as the rest of the episodes. I'll explain. 6, I like that they showed more of Ultron, so that's why it ranks higher than 7. My number 6 was What If Ultron Won.
Okay.
Number 5 is Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands. That was originally lower for me, but with him making appearances later on, it made me appreciate him in that episode more. 4, Killmonger rescued Tony Stark. So
Wait,
you
hold
and
on.
I, in general,
Wait. Can we go back to Doctor Strange for 1 second? I have to
right.
say, I think that the Doctor Strange episode is the most complete episode of the
Yep.
entire series. Like
Yep.
it's a perfect beginning and end, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I bumped it up from the
Yeah.
bottom. My initial reaction.
Yeah. It's very much like a What If comic, and it's also like a Twilight Zone episode too.
Yeah.
You know? So that's cool. It's weird that Adit, he's commenting, but I don't see him in the chat or the whatever. Here's Adit again. From what I read, writers of Loki, What If, No Way Home, and Multiverse of Madness didn't talk to each other about it, and how the multiverse works. Okay, that's interesting. That's kind of contradictory for what you usually hear about Marvel. It's usually that everybody's kind of on the same page. That's kind of like unlike the Star Wars sequels, where like everyone's got notes for Marvel.
I mean, you know what? Even the whole concept of the show. I mean, they're basically the shows and the movies are basically saying that the multiverse just like happened. With the end of Loki. So I feel like maybe it's a little too on the nose that this started right after that. And I think there was just a coincidence more than something that was planned out.
Okay.
So I can understand why this is separate. I mean, they also could just be like, oh, it's a dumb cartoon, and who cares?
Yeah,
I care.
Exactly. I really do think Adit and Brian, to you too. I do think that it's just like what you just said, where it's like, oh, it's a cartoon, so it doesn't matter as much, and that's why it doesn't feel like it has that weight that the other MCU shows have had too.
Yeah.
And he says this was actually true. This was actually the first time Marvel didn't plan anything. Okay. All right. So maybe it's regarding this one show. But yeah, dude, thanks for commenting and watching too.
Yeah.
Let me get back to my list. So you and I, Brian, we kind of differ in our view of Black Panther. I have Black Panther very high on my ranking of the Marvel movies, and you have it pretty low. And so I think that's why our ranking here is very different too. So I had that Killmonger episode as number 4. Just because I love that Killmonger character so much. I do agree with all the little criticisms you had of it, though.
Yeah,
but I just love that character so much.
Yeah, no, it was more the execution of the episode than the actual story or the characters of the episode. The story was very interesting.
Yeah,
I don't see how people didn't figure him out sooner, but whatever.
Yeah. So then number 3 is the zombies one. Just because I thought it was like a lot of fun, and I like the Marvel Zombies comics. But I also agree that like there's too much humor in that episode, and it just reminded me of some of the What If comics I read as a kid, like especially the vampires one. Number 2, T'Challa became Star-Lord. I really like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is my favorite MCU movie, and it's just cool to have T'Challa in that world and how much of a positive influence he was on the whole galaxy. And then my number 1 is The World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes. And just because that one really, truly reminded me of What If comics I read as a kid. Like, I feel like I could have picked that up off a shelf in a comic book store or newsstand. And so I just liked it a lot. So with that being said, so we can get to our Resident Evil discussion real quick too. If you could rank the MCU shows, how would you rank them?
Sure. So I actually switched up my ranking a little bit from how I previously had the shows. So
Okay.
I actually have What If is my least. Like we were kind of saying, like it feels like there's like a disconnect there.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy watching it, but I guess I was more excited every time we recorded watching the other shows more than I was with this.
Okay, that's a good point.
Number 3, I have Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
2, I have Loki, which is very, very lopsided. Very lopsided show. But I'm so excited by what the ending of it means. So it kind of got there. And I originally had that at number 1, my highest show previously. But I'm giving that back to WandaVision because it was just such a fun watch. And we had so much fun Mephisto speculating. So yeah.
Okay, our lineup is pretty close, except we just flipped Falcon, and Loki. So my lowest is What If, and then I have Loki, then I have Falcon and Winter Soldier, then I have WandaVision. That's actually like the order of when they came out too, right? WandaVision, then Falcon, then Loki, then this one, right?
Yes.
Right. So the reason why I had Loki so low is because one of the double-edged sword of having all this continuity with Marvel is that sometimes you have these stories where they feel like they're just kind of building up for something else.
Yeah.
And even though I like the character development with Loki, and even
Sylvie.
what was the girl Loki's name again?
Sylvie.
Oh yeah, Sylvie. Even though I like that, and I like all the other Loki variants that were in that like second to last episode. I just felt like a lot of it was just setting up Kang and the multiverse.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, the second and third episodes of that show were just flat out boring.
Yeah.
They were like bottom of the barrel episodes of the MCU TV show era. But yeah. I was like over the moon with the last two or so. So I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier was a lot more even, I think.
Agreed.
Great show. And I mean, then again, I mean, I keep thinking back to the pitch meeting. I watched it because they have pitch meetings for all the shows, and I love pitch meetings.
Yes,
there was something they pointed out that I was just really laughing at. I can't remember off the top of my head, but pitch meetings poked some holes I didn't think of in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes.
So if you haven't watched it, go watch it.
I actually haven't watched it. I kind of did a thing like what you said, where it's like it'd be good to watch it for things that have flaws or things that you don't like, but it's hard to watch it when it's things that I really like. But still, I end up watching them all. That's all I watch on YouTube is pitch meeting now.
Yeah, so that's all I watch on YouTube is pitch meetings as well, and my son hates them.
Oh yeah,
he actually like if I go to put one on, he actually fights me for the controller. Like he throws like a tantrum like you wouldn't believe when I try to watch pitch meetings, and that's for that reason you just said, because he doesn't like that they make fun of movies, and I'm totally cool with that. I can look at whatever. I can look at my favorite movie and watch them rip it apart, and I don't care because I probably could do it that way myself.
Right.
I just like to watch any movie that I've seen, whether it's good or bad or whatever. I will watch it if I've seen the movie. If I haven't, I probably won't watch it because I'm not gonna get it, you know.
Yeah, I watched the Twilight pitch meetings and they were funny, but I haven't watched all the Twilight movies. You know, I've only seen the first one. Yeah, and my daughter was into them for a while. Yeah, so here we are. We're plugging Mr. Sunday and we're plugging pitch meetings. That's on Screen Rant. Two YouTube channels that don't need our help at all. It'd be nice if they could like kind of turn it our way a little bit, but we got a deet, so we're good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that we could take a little turn real quick and just for the last few minutes talk about the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City trailer that just dropped. So you just watched it like within the hour, right?
Yeah, no, I, like as little as a week ago, I was thinking like this movie comes out in like a month and a half. Like, why have we seen nothing but like 3 stills?
Right,
like, what's wrong with this movie, or is it going to get pushed back?
Right.
I mean, I have to say, I really enjoyed the trailer, but it absolutely like I feel like this is gonna be like a cult B movie kind of thing. Like it looks like a really good B movie.
Yes,
and I think that's exactly what Resident Evil should be. So I'm super excited about it.
Yes, dude, I'm so glad that you said that because I feel the same way. And then when you think about the guy that made it, that's what makes me excited, and it kind of lines up with that. The guy that made it, his name is Johannes Roberts. Have you ever heard of him?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he made 47 Meters Deep, which is like that shark movie.
Okay. Oh man,
I think
I almost wait. Did I watch that one? That's the one with the 2 sisters in the cage.
Yeah.
Did I watch that? I was on like a shark movie kick, like early in the summer or something like that, and I might have watched it. Maybe I didn't.
Well, maybe you want to go revisit it or whatever, or watch for the first time because it's this guy that did Resident Evil. And so he did that, and that gets like a record because I think it's the movie that has the most scenes shot underwater.
Oh wow,
that's kind of interesting, right? Like that, it beats like The Abyss and shit, right? Wow. Then he also made this movie called The Strangers Pray at Night, which is like the sequel to The Strangers, and it's like a very different tone than the first Strangers, and it's like a lot of fun. So I think this guy is a good match for this series, you know. And Adit's got his 2 cents too. Right here, he says the new Resident Evil movie should have had its trailer debut at least 2 months ago. Yeah, Brian agrees with you.
100% agree. Yeah, I was like, it was either it's so bad that they're just gonna not show it, or they're gonna push it back. But
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is that bad. I mean, it just looks like a B horror movie, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Well, they said, like, I saw on Twitter, because people were talking about it. One of the things that was trending today was Four Non Blondes, because they use that song.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it was a weird choice, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that song came out before 1998 too. Like when they.
Yeah, it was like 93 or 94. I mean, and it's not about, obviously it's not about, zombies and attacking a city.
Or like umbrellas or raccoons or anything like that.
No, not about that. No.
Yes, but I think one of the things I saw was that someone said this is like almost like a dream cast for a fan made movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like one of those movies like where they did the Power Rangers, but it was all gritty. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, this is like, you've probably seen that. I guess it's a meme more or less. Like, oh, what if the Avengers was all made in the 90s? And it's like Tom Cruise's Iron Man and Brad Pitt's Thor and all that stuff. It's like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the people, like, it's got friggin' Donald Logue, which I haven't seen him in anything since, like, Sons of Anarchy. And he's playing, like, the police chief, I think. It says.
Oh, Brian Iron. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's kind of a smaller role, but I mean, more from Resident Evil 2. But yeah.
And then,
I think everybody's really, like, looks the part. Maybe with the exception of Avon Jogia as Leon. Like, his hair is all wrong. And Leon has very, very particular hair. And I'm a little sad about that. But yeah, like everybody looks like spot on. Kaya Scoladero is Claire, and Robbie Mo's Chris Redfield. I mean, everyone's wearing the costumes. The costumes look perfect. Like this is almost like. Did you play the first Resident Evil game on PS1?
I used to watch a friend who had more money than me play it at his house.
Was his name Ted?
No, it wasn't Ted.
So the first Resident Evil game had live action cutscenes. Like,
yes.
So it kind of feels like that. I'm so happy that everyone looks exactly like they did there. But the one thing that I'm pissed about is they don't have Barry Burton.
Oh,
Barry was he was just like this, like, blonde hair and a blonde beard, and he had like this orange. Like,
is he like the husky guy?
Yeah. And he was in Jill's scenario, and he has like the best lines, like, "You were almost a Jill sandwich," and blood. I hope that's not Chris's blood. And it's absolute like the corniest things. But I love the character because of that, and he's not in the movie, and I'm very disappointed about that.
Well, I'm kind of confused too, right? Because talking about this casting, like, I thought Lance Reddick, right? Wasn't he supposed to play Wesker?
So Netflix has some like weird stuff going on with Resident Evil because they have that CG show, and then some other show where he plays Albert Wesker, and it's like an entirely like female cast otherwise, and I have no idea what's going on with it, but I think it's done filming. So I don't think this connects to this at all, because in this movie, Tom Hopper is Wesker, and he absolutely looks the part for that. Tom Hopper is he was on Game of Thrones. So did you finish Game of Thrones, the TV show?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. He was oh my God, I can't remember anybody's names anymore.
Is he the guy that like gets with Daenerys and he's like the?
No. He's God, Sam.
Here.
Sam. He's Sam's brother.
That fucking guy is Wesker?
No, not Samuel. Wait, is it Samuel? Why can't I remember any of my Game of Thrones knowledge anymore?
Samuel Tarly?
Samuel Tarly. So it's his brother.
Oh.
Dickon Tarly.
Oh, okay. Yes, that guy does look like Wesker.
He gets eaten by or burned alive by
Drogon.
Drogon, yeah. And he's also number 1 in the Umbrella Academy. And everybody hates him.
Okay. I haven't watched Umbrella Academy, but I know what that guy looks like, and he does look like Wesker. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry that my Resident Evil. What's that?
He could have been a Leon too, probably.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry that my Resident Evil knowledge is not as good as my comic book knowledge, or, I'd be geeking out more with you. But I do know who Wesker is, and you've explained some of the lore to me too, so it made me appreciate this more. And I think I even know, like, what's his face, who's like playing a scientist, Neil McDonough, right?
Yep.
I think I know which character he's playing based on what you've told me.
Oh yeah, take a guess. Yeah, I know he's playing.
Yeah, because like this movie's like a combination of like Resident Evil 1 and 2, right?
It seems like it, yeah, because the first game is you play as either Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, and it's 90% like in the mansion. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is just in the mansion. And then Resident Evil 2 is like a few days later. It might even be like 2 days later, and that takes place after the zombies break out into the city. So, well, oh, you know what? There might be a little Resident Evil 0 in here too.
Dude, you just make me want to play all the fucking games, and man, I gotta like if there's like a YouTube video where they just kind of like do all the cutscenes, or like if they do like a breakdown, like with Mass Effect, like when you shared those like those character bios and shit. I just want like a Resident Evil of that.
You know, when we were doing the reviews of Resident Evil, I think we were talking about the show coming up and the new game and all that. I did watch the video that was like the whole lore thing of the whole story, and it was really cool. Okay. Super convoluted, but it was really cool.
Yeah, but I love that convoluted shit, and yeah, it just looks like a lot of fun. And then like I got the game for PlayStation 4, the virtual one, and like what is it, Resident Evil 7? Yeah. And I mean, I just don't get to play video games as much at all because I'm always making YouTube videos. But I was really enjoying playing that though.
Yeah, it's the very beginning of that game is super scary, and I imagine experiencing it the first time in VR, it must be even worse.
Yeah, I had to have my little 11-year-old girl just sit near me, even though she couldn't see what I was seeing. She's like, just be by me, please.
Yeah, I wouldn't the first like hour or two, I wouldn't play it without Kristen sitting next to me.
Yeah. So I mean, I am looking forward to this game, this movie. And I think that, like, even though we're talking about it on this channel, we should probably cover it for like the Lasser cast because it looks like it's more like a horror.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm happy to jump in. I got one more thing from Adit over here. Can you rank all episodes of Superman and Lois with best to most okay? I like that he said best, most okay. So Adit, I really need to just go and finish Superman and Lois. I watched like the majority of it with my daughter, but then we just stopped because she lost interest in it. But those originally got a lot of attention, and maybe I could do like a little recap and rank them too. We'll see. Just real busy right now.
I have not seen any of them actually yet, and I probably I think they're all on HBO Max, so I probably could. But there's so many shows I want to watch. I'm a few episodes behind on Why the Last Man. I haven't started Doom Patrol season 3 yet. I've heard that Titans is actually really good, but I only got 4 or 5 episodes into the first season. There's so many things I want to watch. I'm watching Squid Game, which is not comic book related at all because everybody's watching Squid Game, but I just don't have the time for all these things.
Dude, yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. And I'm this lunatic that has like 3 channels, and like I watch different things for each one. It's like, yeah, I have like no time. I'm just always watching or reading shit. But like, I was gonna ask you, you didn't watch Midnight Mass, right?
I haven't yet. No, that's another thing I want to watch too. I haven't even watched the second Haunting of season. I know it's not as good, but I didn't watch that either.
Yeah. Don't tell Chris or Danny, but like I stopped watching that because I didn't have time. The second one, the first one was really good. And now, right after I end this with you, I'm gonna go watch the last episode of Midnight Mass. And like, oh man, some of the moments in that show are just like top shelf, like incredible shit.
One question for you about that show: did they drop all the episodes at once, or have they been doing week to week?
No, all at once, just like Netflix,
Got it. Okay, yeah. For some reason, I felt like I kept seeing people talk about it spaced out, and it seemed like it was, I don't know. I guess they were just coincidences.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do on the Lastercast is like, I covered a couple and then Danny covered some. And I just feel like with a TV show, you got to like digest it. Like everyone loves to just fucking binge this stuff. And a lot of times reviewers get it like before it even comes out and they just watch the whole thing and then they just review it all. But it's like, even if you treat it like a book or something like that, it's like, you still want to digest, like it's hours of time,
Yeah, I don't. I'm all for binging a show you've seen already,
Yeah.
Especially like in the background or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I love the week to week thing. It's just that digestion time. I mean, sometimes you can't even get to them during the 1 week, and so you can catch up something. I'm not a fan of the dropping everything at once because you feel that pressure to do everything like immediately, so you don't get spoiled because everyone spoils everything.
Yeah,
and I don't like getting spoiled for things I want to see.
Yeah, no kidding. Like I wanted to see one of the scenes from Midnight Mass that like had really had an effect on me, and I looked up that scene on YouTube because I figured they'd probably have it. And then like one of the thumbnails was just like this blaring spoiler for the final episode. I was like, oh damn, you know?
Yeah.
So
sucks.
Anyway, so we got through What If. Jeffrey Wright didn't join us, even though I kind of tried to bait him.
He's watching.
He's watching. Yes. He's watching through the fifth wall or the 3.5 wall or whatever. And yeah, but I had fun talking about this. Obviously, I didn't have as much fun as some of the other Marvel shows, but I am very much looking forward to talking about Hawkeye with you.
Yep.
Yeah. So before we get to Hawkeye, though, we have next week we're going to talk about Venom. I'm very much not looking forward to talking about Venom with you.
Wait, can I ask one question? Are there lobsters in this movie?
No, but it's like even more stupid than that. Like the levels of stupidity. I feel like you should just not watch it. But I want to talk to you about it. But it's like
I'm gonna go see it. I'm still debating it's about bringing Brandon or not, though. So if you have any advice there, let me know.
I mean, honestly, and I guess this is like a little bit of a spoiler, but like, it's not that bad for a kid. It's
all right, done. I'm doing it. That's all I need to know.
Carnage is a fucking serial killer, but it's like you don't see anything, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that shit next Wednesday, and until then, we will see you guys next time.
Bye, D.